So Donald Trump wants to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. Which is weird, because the last time a Republican cared this much about caps, they were trying to ban them in school dress codes. Now, before we get into why this is about as likely to happen as me becoming a TikTok influencer, let's talk about what's actually going on here. Trump announced this proposal like he just discovered fire, claiming he's going to protect hard-working Americans from predatory lending. Which is interesting because the average credit card APR right now is around 27%. Meaning if this actually passed, credit card companies would lose their collective minds faster than a Tesla on autopilot losing its lane detection. But here's the thing, and I cannot stress this enough, this is theater. Political theater so obvious that even high school drama clubs are like, wow, that's a bit much. Let me explain why this 10% cap has the same chance of becoming reality as Jeff Bezos has of winning a Mr. Olympia competition. First, during Trump's first term, he didn't just ignore financial consumer protections, he actively dismantled them. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, which was literally created to protect people from predatory lending practices, got absolutely gutted under his administration. He appointed people to run it who fundamentally opposed its existence. It's like hiring a vegan to manage a steakhouse and being shocked when the menu suddenly has a lot more quinoa. Trump's administration cut the CFPB's budget, reduced its enforcement actions, and basically turned it from a watchdog into more of a watch gerbil. A cute little thing that occasionally squeaks, but doesn't really do anything. So when the guy who spent 4 years defunding the organization that protects you from financial exploitation suddenly says he wants to cap interest rates, you should probably be as skeptical as you are when your ex texts you at 2 a.m. saying they just want to talk. Now, let's talk about why this won't actually work, even in the fantasy universe where Trump genuinely wants this to happen. Credit card companies aren't just going to look at a 10% cap and go, oh, well, I guess we'll just make less money and call it a day. These are the same people who charge you $35 because you were $2 short on your minimum payment. You think they're just going to take this lying down? Here's what would actually happen. Banks would immediately start adding new fees, like their Netflix adding price tiers. Annual fees would skyrocket. Transaction fees would appear out of nowhere. There'd be processing fees, maintenance fees, breathing fees, fees for not using your card enough, fees for using it too much. They'd probably charge you a fee just for reading the terms and conditions that explain all the other fees. Which, let's be honest, nobody reads anyway. Credit would become nearly impossible to get for anyone who isn't already wealthy. Banks would tighten their lending standards so hard that you'd need a 780 credit score and a letter of recommendation from Warren Buffett just to get approved for a card with a $500 limit. This is because at 10% interest, banks can't make money off risky borrowers anymore. So they'd just stop lending to them entirely. Congratulations! You've just locked millions of Americans out of the credit system in the name of protecting them. Oh, and let's not forget that this cap would require Congress to actually pass legislation. The same Congress that can barely agree on what day of the week it is. The same Congress where half the members receive campaign contributions from the financial industry. You know, the industry that would lose billions if this passed. I'm sure they'll get right on that right after they finish investigating whether birds are real. The credit card lobby would descend on Washington faster than influencers descend on a free brunch. They'd explain very patiently to our elected officials, using small words and colorful charts, why this is a terrible idea. And by explain, I mean they'd write some very large checks to super PACs. It's the American way. Even if by some miracle this passed, banks would just find creative workarounds. They'd create tiered systems where the base rate is 10%, but you pay extra for rewards programs, fraud protection, or the privilege of having a card that actually works. They'd separate the interest rate from all the other ways they make money off you, kind of like how airlines now charge you separately for your seat, your bag, and apparently the oxygen you breathe at 30,000 feet. The reality is that consumer financial protection requires actual regulation, enforcement, and oversight. Things that Trump demonstrated he has absolutely zero interest in during his first term. This proposal is the political equivalent of your friends saying they'll definitely pay you back next week. Sure, buddy, I'll hold my breath. What's really happening here is simple. It's an election year move designed to make headlines and win over voters who are rightfully pissed off about credit card interest rates. It sounds good, it's easy to understand, and it'll never actually happen. It's the political version of vaporware. All promise, no product. If Trump actually cared about protecting consumers from predatory lending, he would have strengthened the CFPB instead of trying to destroy it. He would have supported regulations that prevent the kinds of practices that got us into this mess in the first place. But he didn't, because that would have required actually doing the hard, unglamorous work of governance instead of just tweeting about it. So here we are, watching another episode of American political theater, where politicians propose things they know will never happen, so they can later blame the other side for blocking it. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as CSPAN. The moral of the story is this: if something sounds too good to be true in politics, it probably is. Especially when it's proposed by someone whose track record suggests they'd rather help credit card companies than regulate them. But hey, at least we got a good news cycle out of it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go pay my credit card bill before they charge me another $35 fee. Because that's still definitely happening.